Yeah, the first question is, how easy is it to attend court and observe?
Let you take this one, John?
Yeah, this is very much in my wheelhouse, isn't it? The short answer, very. So all courts, with the exception of very few, so for example, the youth court, the Crown Court if it's dealing with a bail application, something like that, all courts are open courts. You can go to court and sit in the public gallery. And if you're an aspiring barrister, if you're an aspiring solicitor advocate, if you aspire to be any form of lawyer that conducts advocacy, I would highly recommend going to court and observing some advocacy. So have a look for your local courthouse. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a civil court, a family court, a criminal court, whatever. Go along and watch some advocacy. So obviously go to court. Look for someone in a gown walking around with a clipboard. They are the ushers. They are arguably the most important people in court. Introduce yourself to them when you see them walking about in the general area. Introduce yourself. Let them know that you're a law student. You want to see some advocacy, and ask them if there's anything interesting going on in any of the courts. They'll let you know. They'll bring you in and sit you down in the public gallery, and it's amazing what you'll have the opportunity to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would say is, if you have a morning off from university or the bar course or whatever it is that you're on, take the time to go to court, sit in the public gallery and observe. If you go to the Crown Court, for example, you can watch pleas and litigation, you can watch openings, you can watch witness handling, and you're going to see, some of the top advocates in the country performing witness handling. Obviously, if you go to the civil court, you'll get to see the practical side of what it is that you're learning in your civil litigation modules.
Mm-hmm.
So some case management hearings, maybe even some trials in there, some general procedural applications. So highly, highly recommend it. It's a great opportunity to watch some advocacy. And of course, network as well.
Definitely. And I would just add as well, even if you're not an aspiring barrister or advocate yourself, I think it's still really important to get some courtroom experience, because even as commercial solicitors, and especially if you're litigation as well, your clients will ask you all the time, well, what's going to happen? What's the process? What happens in court?
Yeah.
And if you've never stepped foot into a courtroom, if you've only ever sat behind your desk, you'll be like, well, I think this is what happens. And it's very different to what you read in a textbook, actually getting some courtroom experience. So I would say, even if you don't want to be an advocate yourself, it's still really useful to get yourself into court.
It's crucial to know. It's absolutely crucial to know. Given a practical example of that, when I was at the Crown Prosecution Service and I was doing review work, so for example, when I would give charging advice to the police, so the police would send a file of evidence to me, I would review it, and then I need to authorise the charges, say, which charges are made out, etc. Given that I had previously acted as an advocate for so long, I understood how these cases would go in court, what would happen, how the evidence would play out, and you can therefore make a practical decision on that. So having experience in advocacy, knowing what goes on in the courtroom, that guided my decisions and meant that they were much more solid decisions, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah.
And likewise, for general litigation solicitors, knowing what happens in the courtroom, knowing the procedure, that can certainly help you in your day-to-day practice. So completely agree there, Hayley.
Yeah. And it's just a way to build up your confidence of being in that environment as well. I remember when I went the first few times as a student, I was really nervous, and I was only there to watch, but the courtroom can be quite an intimidating place to be in.
Yeah.
So the more you get yourself down there, the easier you'll feel, the more relaxed you'll feel in those settings. And again, that's really important. I'm just speaking from a commercial solicitor point of view. When you go and you're there with your client, if you're there feeling really nervous and intimidated, then how are you going to put your clients at ease when they're the ones that are going to have to, give evidence at trial, etc. So the more you go, the less scary the courtroom feels.